Liquor was the only love I know. But you rescued me and brought me back into far.
Coach's Corner with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. You're stuck with me, man.
I'm stuck.
You are stuck with me. I ain't going anywhere.
There's a lot of people that are jealous of me for sitting here, and there's some people that there's a little sympathy going on at the same time.
There's more people that are sympathetic to you. I'm just saying that much right now. As a matter of fact, if I needed a vasectomy, I might get one this weekend.
Oh, I forgot those commercials.
But I don't even need a vasectomy. And just remember what Ron Heklinski said today. And you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good. Oh, man. Are you kidding me?
Here we are. Go for it, man.
I absolutely love that.
We have more fun with that than we do just sitting here talking.
No,
Listen to the old stuff.
It's amazing. It's just some of the stuff we say.
We're not responsible for our actions.
No,
we're sober.
No,
we're just.
Hey, I've had a liver. I'm 28 years on with a liver transplant. I can't drink if I want to, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've lasted that long without a drink.
Forget the liver transplant. It's without a drink. Oh, man.
Back in the day, right?
Yeah, no. So,
one of my changing your lifestyle, right?
One of my favorite stories. I don't even know why I start with this kind of stuff, but you know how when we all went to the Indiana Basketball Coaches Clinic.
Oh, sure.
And we
went to the clinic sometimes.
Yeah, and then we took our staffs and all that stuff.
Right.
And then after the clinic, about 10, it was downtown Indy. We would go to a certain establishments and hang out with all the coaches and
talk basketball.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that the establishments we would go to or would be things that we need to chat about, but I'll just say this much. I took one of my, and I'm not even going to use his name, but one of my assistant coaches said, heck, I always wanted to do this. And I said, what? He said, let's walk in here, and I'm putting these sunglasses on, and I'm going to pretend I'm blind. and then you're going to guide me. You're going to help me.
Oh, no.
And so we walked in, and my coach has got these glasses on, and now he can see, but I'm leading him around like he's blind. And the worker at the place, the lady comes up to him,
one of the waitresses
says, hey, is your buddy blind? I said, yeah, he can't see. He goes, bring her closer. I gotta be able to. No, I can't even.
We kind of know where that one's going.
I laughed. And I remember that like every 10 days, I just start out. I could be anywhere, but I just started laughing because I remember that.
Well, as you guys can see, we are at my house. Bar Louie has a company party tonight, so they closed down for that. So we are here downstairs, and I guess we'll call it the man cave back here in my little cubby hole. We are watching pregame for the Tampa. We're watching the early fourth quarter of the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game and snowball fights in between those. And we've got Golden State and whoever they're playing, Memphis, on the third TV.
Yeah,
so it's a great Monday night.
No, I think it's a beautiful Monday night. But for anybody listening to us or watching us outside of our area here, the weather here is absolutely brutal. We have snow. It'll get down probably with a wind chill between minus 25 and minus 35 tonight.
Schools are closed tomorrow.
Yes, I mean schools are closed because of the polar vortex. The roads are absolutely horrendous.
And you tell me about your little adventure earlier. You were talking about it. You did a little not Tom Sneva. What was the guy's name in '85 or so that did the spin to win at the 500? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't even know what that's called, but I just know this much. I'm going down because snow day, no snow day, cold, no snow. I got to get to Planet Fitness. I got to get a workout in.
Sure.
And I got to get a workout in because I always say it ain't easy looking how I look. So I got to get to Planet Fitness and get a workout. It takes work.
I know.
So I'm heading down Ironwood, just a little bit north of Martin's on Ironwood. And for no reason, I'm going 25.
Right.
For no reason, I hit a patch of black ice, and I'm doing a 360 heading down ironwood, and I'm holding on as tight as I can. My eyes go to my rear view mirror. My back, there's nobody behind me, so I'm not worried about someone crashing into me from behind. And then my next vision or point of vision, I look ahead to see if there's anybody in the other lane. And my Lord just helped me and saved me, because there was nobody in the other lane, and I'm sliding down Ironwood sideways in both lanes.
Oh dear.
And we talk about Frick's driver's education. You're a driver's education teacher, and I've driven in snow and ice for a long, long time. So I know how to do that. I know how to turn opposite when you get into a spin.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you might as well do your commercial for Frick's driving.
What do you do? Well, here's what we're
tell me what you do. I'd like to find out in case it happens again.
You don't drive on ice.
So those kids pay $900 for you to say don't drive on ice.
Today it was stay home. I was supposed to drive today. I was supposed to drive like 5 or 6 hours today, but they called off because of the weather. They didn't want it was below zero. I think we did get a heat wave after lunch. I think it got above zero, like a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
But the ice on the roads is not working. That's for sure.
So you're supposed to turn opposite to swerve, right?
Right. But that's when I always tell people, look for snow. If the road's shiny, you move over a foot, look for some snow, because at least you got a chance in the snow.
Well, that's what stopped me. I had a huge snowbank.
Yeah, you hit snow, you got a chance. But if you're on ice, there's no secrets. You're just along for the ride. You're not. You have no chance.
Well, so obviously everything was cool because we're here. Thanks for hopping along with us tonight. We have a really good show.
Yeah.
We had a cancellation. Allison Hayes, who's everything Notre Dame. She knows everything about what's happening at the Golden Dome.
We were going to have her talk a little bit about some football, give us an update on transfers and coaching and everything like that. And then she has started working on, more concerned with the basketball. She's got her tip-off shows now, and she's had interviews with both the women and the men's coaches, and give us a little idea about what's going on with the 2 basketball programs. But she also has a family at home, and she had worked a little later than she planned, and because some people couldn't get into work today at Channel 57, and she was just getting home, she said, I'm gonna have to cancel. So we're gonna have to go without Allison. We'll catch her next week or the week after. We know where she is, and
You're stuck with me.
We're stuck with Scott. And
we're stuck with Scott. He's in Puerto Rico, isn't he?
Yeah, someplace. Scott he's flying. He's working right now. He's not on the clock, but he is in a layover. You're in Savannah, right? Give us a weather forecast in Savannah.
Savannah currently 63 and sunny.
Stop. Act like you're the co-pilot and you're talking to the people in the back waiting to leave on the next flight. So tell
Savannah,
us
Georgia, currently 63 degrees and sunny. We'll be landing in 20 minutes.
Wind out of the southwest at 72 knots a mile or whatever they say.
Nobody cares what the wind's doing.
Yeah, they don't, because you're up above that.
I know.
They're not even listening when you give the weather.
Well, they're listening to where you're going. You're going back to Dallas in the morning. So tell us, what's Dallas? There's snow on the ground in Dallas. Is that right? Well, we saw that earlier.
Well, Sophia said it already all melted. So
that's usually what happens.
I did see a thing that a couple of the lakes around DFW got, like South Lake, Grapevine, some of those cities close to the lakes got lake effect snow.
Oh, okay.
In Texas.
Yeah.
They probably didn't have a clue what it was. Kind of like what we see in Buffalo, right?
Well, no. I mean, Buffalo is Blizzardsville.
Isn't it? We were watching the game earlier. Nobody's sitting down because there's no place to sit, because they got 3 feet of snow in their chair, and there's 3 more feet down where their feet are. So there's no place to put it. So they're just standing. If they want to sit there, they're like they got a bar stool.
Well, 24-17 now with about 10-20 left in the game. The score was 24-7 at halftime. And so obviously Pitt has scored.
Well, they
10
scored
points
right before the half, and now they've got 10 more here in the second half. So they're within a touchdown.
Hey, so let's start this show. Let me talk about our guys. And last week our show last week.
We had fun last week,
was
didn't we?
really cool. We had some people in the audience. We also had Tony Letcher, who came in and did his commercial from Health Markets live. And as you look on our screen, there's a great Tony Letcher from Health Markets. And we'd like to say thanks to Tony with Health Markets Insurance. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage at the right price. So call Tony at 574-307-8882, and he will help you with everything. He was awesome. I believe a 1995 grad of South Bend Adams.
Right.
And just missed you because you came in 96, right?
Yep. I missed him by a year.
And just wonderful. Just wonderful to be our main sponsor for this program. And we appreciate you a lot, Tony. Hahn Funeral Home, loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions that stress at Hahn Funeral Homes of Mishawaka. We're here to help. Our focus has always been on the families that we serve. At Hahn Funeral Home, we stand ready to meet your needs and exceed your expectations when selecting a funeral home. Call Pat Hahn at 574-255-1474 or visit them at 505 West 8th Street. And I know it is such a devastating time period when someone passes. And like when my dad passed or your dad passed, my dad was sick and your dad was sick. Your dad lived to be how old?
80, almost 89.
Okay, my dad lived to be 83, and people say, and I get this line all the time when I visit someone who's had a long life. Oh, they've had a great life. It was time for them to go, and blah blah blah. But it's never time to lose a loved one.
Right.
And the people at Hahn Funeral Home are very, very, very sensitive to that. And they do a great job of bringing you in, sitting you down, going through all the options. And so it's never an easy time. And I don't care if the person's been sick. It's never time not to hear your dad or your mom's voice.
Right.
Again.
Well, and if you think about it, the funeral home people will probably tell you that a funeral is actually more for the living than it is the dead. It's the adjustment time for the people.
Yeah, because the dead ain't saying anything, right?
Yeah, they've had enough.
Yeah.
They sit there and say, "Quit staring at me." Let's
I
get on with it.
No, because when I go, I'm having some Jordans on. I'm gonna throw some Jordans on. I swear, I'm gonna have some kind of electrical device wired.
Right.
If anybody lifts that second half of the casket up
Right.
and tries to take my Jordans, I'm gonna have like a voice thing saying, "Get out of there! Leave them Jordans alone."
That's funny.
You don't want to be buried like Bob Knight said he wanted to be, face down, so everybody could kiss your butt one more time.
Kiss his ass.
The media loves us, though.
I love that.
Who likes us more, media or referees? What do you think?
I don't think either one of us do, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Either one of them do.
We've got a note. My Indy 500 reference. It was Danny Sullivan. That was the race car driver that did the spin to win back in the 80s.
Well, I did the spin to grab the wheel. And I'm saying a little prayer. God help me, man. If you get me out of this, I'll never go 1 mile, because we always do that.
Right.
God, get me out of this. I'll never go 1 mile over the speed limit again.
Or I'll never drink again.
I'll never do that. I'll never do this.
So, hey, by the way, you people down here, we need your help. Call us, text us, that front number down there in the bottom right corner, because we're going to talk football. Which game was yesterday? The first game, was that the Cowboys?
That's the Cowboys.
That was the Cowboys. My goodness, what a ball game!
Well, no, it depends. It depends what fan you are.
The people in Dallas right now, I'm sure, just still stunned at what happened. That Green Bay came in there and just dominated the game.
Well, and here's the deal with Green Bay now, and I think this is really true, and I think this is great, because everybody says, all right, now, we have to buy these players. Free agents are coming. We got the number 1 draft pick. We got to pick Marvin Harrison. We got to pick Caleb Williams. We got to do this. Green Bay comes in with a bunch of no-name receivers, Bo Melton, some kid named Wicks. The only one I knew is Christian Watson. Who was
they're
the
youngest team in the league.
Yeah, youngest team in the league.
Touchdown Buffalo.
And I've never heard of these receivers, but yet they're making catches left and right against Gilmore, who's an all-pro cornerback for the Cowboys, against the vaulted Dallas defense. And so my comment is this: all of the people, and I'm going to reference this back to Chicago because I'm a Chicago guy. All the people that reference this and saying we got to put players around Justin Fields. They didn't put players around Jordan Love. They didn't put players around him. These are guys that they drafted in the fifth round.
These are draft
round,
picks. That's exactly
fourth
right.
round.
Yep.
They're not first round picks. They just coached him up.
They just went out and played ball
and coached him up.
They sure did.
And Jordan Love made every possible throw that he needed to make. And if you're Jerry Jones today, I mean, I'm reading stuff today saying, well, he hadn't made a decision on McCarthy. He doesn't know if he's going to fire McCarthy, and all this stuff about, Dan Quinn being the hottest name out there to fill one of these head coaching vacancies. He's the DC at Dallas. He's all this in a bag of chips. It gives up 48 points.
Yeah, I know. What's that all about? Well, I'm going to throw one at you. I'm going to tell you it's not the coach. What happens if I tell you it's Jerry Jones? He's got the wrong players in there, evidently.
Well, I don't
think it's the coaches. I mean, that was flat on the players. They just got outplayed yesterday. They didn't get out schemed. They didn't get out coached. They just got outplayed.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones has the wrong GM.
Well,
himself.
And we were Scott. We were down there 10 days ago, and all of our guys down there were talking about the curse is over. Jerry. They put the coach in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Ring of Honor, and so that
Jimmy Johnson you're thinking of.
Jimmy Johnson. So you got Jimmy Johnson, and then yesterday at halftime, Jimmy Johnson sitting there yelling and screaming, and Strahan's getting in a stance ready to play. He's giving a halftime speech.
If Jimmy Johnson is going into Hall of Fame, what else is going into the Hall of Fame? That's a trivia question for you. If Jimmy Johnson's going into Hall of Fame, what else is going in?
What else is going in? Well, you've got all those other players.
His hairspray.
Well, they're always talking about his hair. That's for sure.
Hairspray, because his hair never freaking moves.
No, I know.
He's got the best. So I used to tell my kids, because I used to use some hairspray that had concrete in it. I said, if there's ever a tornado, don't worry about grabbing on anything. Just hold on to my head.
Hang on
to my hairspray, because it ain't going anywhere.
That's funny.
But Jimmy Johnson deservedly.
Sure. But he should have been in the Ring of Honor a long time ago. But that's a Dallas thing. And there, all the people were down there were saying, it's just those two. They went to college together, and that was just something personal between them. And finally, they put him in the Ring of Honor. So now everything's great in Dallas. They win last week, and then they come in here this week, and they just laid an egg.
And lay a huge egg. And Mike McCarthy, the ex. I mean, there's some storylines in this game now. Mike McCarthy, the ex coach of the Packers.
Packers, right?
Who won a Super Bowl with the Packers.
Yes.
With Aaron Rodgers. And, and I'm not going to say Mike McCarthy's not a good coach. I mean, I've always thought he's a pretty good coach. Of course, I'm a Bear fan. So anytime the Packers played the Bears, I thought that the Packers had Vince Lombardi coach.
Oh, sure.
Because they beat the hell out of the Bears all the time.
I know.
But I don't know if it's on Mike McCarthy. I mean, I don't know. But I know this much. And you do too. The one thing that we do as coaches, the one thing that we do control is if we get our teams ready to play or we don't get them ready to play.
Right.
Now, obviously, it's a given. It's a given. You're going to know all their sets. You're going to know all their plays.
Right.
That's a scouting report. But can you emotionally come in all week long and get those, and I don't care if they're professionals, but get your players geared up and get them ready to play? Because it didn't look like Dallas was ready to play.
Well, and a lot of was it the scheme that they had? Was it the defensive scheme? Because Green Bay obviously had it figured out. They had people open in that secondary the entire game, first half and second half, so that there were no changes, or the changes they made didn't work.
Kenny Clark on the defensive line weighs like 450 pounds. He shut down Pollard immediately in that game. And Aaron Jones, it was like Aaron Jones is just running through. I mean, he's been hot in the playoffs. I mean, he was hot against the Bears. He's just a good running back. But They couldn't stop Aaron Jones. I mean, Micah Parsons. He's
Right.
all this in a bag of chips,
Well,
right?
I know. So the Packers get to play again, and they're going to San Francisco next week. So they are the Saturday night game next week. Number 1, number 7. They've got all the first times. It's the first time a 7 has beaten a 2, and all these things. So they play on. That's it's the first year they've had a number 7 team. They've always had 6.
All right. So here's and this brings up a great question. If we have any listeners, man, call us, fire some questions off here.
Comment in the YouTube chat.
On
Okay.
on the YouTube chat. I mean, but here's what this game brings up for me personally. I mean, we all know that I'm a diehard Bear fan. The Bears have the number 1 pick. Now, everybody's talking about, is Justin Fields a quarterback of the future? He's played better this year. Yes, he has. Is he the quarterback that can get you into these playoffs? What I will tell you this, and I've watched every Bear game. Sometimes I watch them twice because I tape them. And I will tell you this. I do not believe that Justin Fields can make the throws that Jordan Love made last night.
Jordan Love showed he's got a cannon.
That he made last night. Now, when you talk about their division, you talk about Kirk Cousins
Right.
from the Vikings, you talk about Jared Goff from the Lions, and you talk about Jordan Love from the Packers. Would you take Justin Fields over any of those other 3 quarterbacks?
It's a good question.
I mean, I don't.
It's a good question.
But I love Justin Fields. He has all of the intangibles.
Now, here's the thing.
The players in the locker room love him. His work ethic
Sure.
is second to none. But would you take him
Not right
as
now.
a quarterback?
Not right now. And here's one of the things I'll throw at you with that. He's still basically a rookie. Those other people, even Jordan Love, even though this is his first year, Green Bay brought him through the old-fashioned way where you bring in a rookie, hand him a hat, hand him a clipboard, sit and watch the starter for 2 or 3 years, learn how to play.
That started Hall of Famer. Aaron
Learn how the
Rodgers.
professionals do this.
Yeah.
Well, where these other teams now are grabbing rookies, first-round draft pick, they're making him the starter first day, first game, and they're just going to take their chances with him. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work.
And it does work because C.J. Stroud, first-year player for the Texans out of Ohio State.
Yep.
And they blow the Browns out.
But look how many others didn't. Burrows at the Bengals, blows out his knee like game 2 or 3 a couple of years ago. What's the kid's name from Clemson that's down at Jacksonville?
Yeah, no,
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, no,
yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
If you look at his numbers, his numbers are okay, but no one's going to ever say anything negative about him because he is Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Peyton, as Scott's mentioned, Peyton Manning, led the NFL in interceptions his first year.
Yeah. So if you are the Bears and you're only in this position because of the trade you made the year before, because at the end of the day, should you've taken C.J. Stroud? I mean, C.J. Stroud will be the rookie of the year.
Oh, sure.
I mean, 4,000 yards, his numbers are phenomenal, blah, blah, blah. So should you take C.J. Stroud? Now, Bryce Young, on the other hand, got his brains beat in, got sacked 150 times.
Down
I'm not sure if he's still walking.
I know. Well, see, that's what happened to Andrew Luck when he was with the Colts.
Yeah.
Oh, but here's some trivia for you. This is the first year since, I think, 98 that Peyton Manning or Brady were not in the playoffs. I read that someplace.
The first year since
98.
Brady didn't play last year.
I think he did. They said this is the first playoffs that Brady or Manning have not been in the playoffs.
Really?
Since 98.
So Brady, I thought yeah, okay. Hey, Scott, help us out. Did Brady play last year?
I'm looking it up right now.
I don't think he played last year. I thought he retired.
When did he retire?
I thought he retired 2 years ago.
He retired February 1st, 2023.
Oh, okay. So he did play last year.
They got beat in the playoffs, like first or second round of the playoffs. The year before, there was a Super Bowl.
I think they got beat by the Cowboys last year.
Did they?
How about them Cowboys?
That was the Cowboys' first playoff win in like 20 years.
Right. And that's why they thought they were Super Bowl material this year. So, hey, by the way, you guys that are listening, You've got 3 different ways to listen to us right now. You can be on Coach's Corner's Facebook page because we're on Facebook Live. You can also listen to us on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, go down there, hit like and subscribe, right, Scott? So we can start
Very good.
trying. And then we're also on Broadcast Sport, which that's kind of our flagship. We've been on that now for 2 years. So you can find us 3 different ways. And if you're not listening to us right now, you can tell your friends to find us tomorrow, because all this will be taped and on podcasts and everything else. So
I think going back to the NFL, I think that the NFL, it's a tough deal for rookie QBs to come in, but one NFL scout, and obviously they never name these guys because they always want to be, anonymous. He says that coming out of college, he would have taken Caleb Williams today over Peyton Manning. That's what the intangibles that Caleb Williams allegedly has.
Well, they think he's going to be a good pro. That's for sure. Now, did you see, speaking of players coming out, Scott, and Scott doesn't really care about this because it's that school up north, Michigan, McCarthy declared that he's going to go in the draft. And I thought that was interesting because, to me, he's got 1 year left that he could have stayed at Michigan.
Yeah, but here's the deal: he can stay at Michigan. What else he got to do?
Well,
I mean, he ain't gonna play for Harbaugh. Harbaugh's here today, going to Muncie.
Well,
tomorrow.
and that's what I'm leading up to. But by him saying I'm going pro, I'm going to the draft, is that a little hint that he knows something that Harbaugh won't be back? Because if Harbaugh was going to be back, he might stay just because Harbaugh would stay.
Well, I don't think he's the only person that knows that Harbaugh ain't come back. 90% of Americans know that Harbaugh ain't coming back.
It doesn't matter where's he going.
Well, yeah, number one, the NCAA does not want him as an NCAA football coach anymore. My God, he was suspended for 6 games this year.
Yeah,
he wins the national championship, but I mean, what does that say to your organization when a guy can be suspended for half of the games, but still be allowed to coach and still be allowed to win the NCAA championship? Now, Michigan will offer him a lot of money to stay just because politically they got to do that.
That's the right thing to do.
They got to do that.
Well, look at all the different things since we were on last week, all the coaching changes that have happened. We had within 24 hours, I thought that was interesting that, and Scott, you can help me with the order of this. Saban retires, right? And we talked about
Correct.
Saban for about 6 hours. And the next thing you know, Belichick announces that he's not going to be coaching anymore.
Well,
and we forgot about Pete Carroll, but because Pete Carroll lasted about 2 hours because Saban took his. We had 3 big names within 24 hours get out of football.
Yeah, and one of them got out on his own volition. The other 2, Pete Carroll did not want to get out, and his comment was very strong when he said, no football people made the decision to get rid of me at Seattle.
Right.
And let's be honest about it. He got fired.
Basically, they can call it what you want.
Yeah, and Bill Belichick got fired. Now they can say that it was mutual.
Yeah.
And Ray Kraft can say, "Hey man, here's 250 Gillette razors.
It's
Thanks,
time to
you
go.
Did a great job.
It's
Take
time
some
to go.
razors."
So I would anticipate seeing those 2 somewhere real soon.
Yeah, I think that I and obviously Belichick will coach again. I don't think there's any question. The reason he wants to coach is because he wants to break the record of Don Shula for the most victories in the NFL. And I think he's 22. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's 22 games short of that record. Yeah. So he will coach.
That's 2 decent seasons, 3 average seasons.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Pete Carroll will coach again because I think Pete Carroll was really excited to still be involved in the Seattle Seahawks organization.
I think so too.
In some way, shape, or form. And obviously Nick Saban retired on his own. I don't ever think that there would be a scenario that would bring Saint Nick back in the fold because he absolutely had the best.
And I'm you look at the timing of some of these because Saban retired And within 24 hours, they had a new coach. So you wonder if they said, wait, we almost have this settled. Then they went through the process of heading for Washington. How much of that was done before Saban announced?
Well, I know this much. Before the national championship game, one of the big boosters who flies his plane around for Alabama and does a lot of the recruiting and all that stuff was sitting on a tarmac for 4 hours with Dabo Sweeney in the plane and all of the main personnel for the University of Athletic department aboard that plane, and they sat on the tarmac for 4 hours with Dabo in there, and I kind of, and obviously that tells you. I mean, Dabo Sweeney's an Alabama guy, coach there,
right?
And that tells you that they were trying to pick his brain, maybe see, but I knew that they would never hire Dabo, and maybe 3 or 4 years ago they might have, because I don't believe Dabo Sweeney has bought into the portal. I don't believe he's bought into the transfers as much as some of the other NCAA coaches have. And let's face it, if you're going to coach at the NCAA level now, you have to use what's available to you. And if that is available, and if that can make you a better football team, but what you said to your guys when you recruited them and signed them and brought them on campus, oh man, I'm loyal to you. We're not going to over recruit you. We're not going to bring in 3 more tight ends. We love you. Blah 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 blah.
You can't do that anymore.
Gone.
Yeah, those days are gone.
I mean, those days are gone because Notre Dame brings in. I mean, Angeli plays a hell of a bowl game.
Right, and that's one of the things we were probably going to talk with Allison about.
Has a hell of a bowl game. They bring in Riley Leonard from Duke. They pay Riley Leonard a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think unless Angeli is the next Steve Montana, and maybe his game in the spring, or maybe I don't see how he beats Leonard out. But if he does beat Leonard out, you're going to have your number 2 making over $1 million in the NIL. I'm not sure that's happening.
One of the things I was going to flat ask Allison and see if she probably wouldn't tell us if she knew, but I think Angeli's auditioning in the spring for a new job someplace else.
Well, I don't think there's any question because
they've got the Carr kid coming in also as a backup.
If it comes down to C.J. Carr, the ex-head football coach of Michigan, Lloyd Carr's grandson, if it comes down to C.J. Carr or Steve Angeli, if C.J. Carr says, man, I'm transferring, coach, but you got too many QBs here.
Mm-hmm.
No, C.J. Carr is a stud. So they bring Riley Leonard in. I think he's got 2 years left, but they'll have the decision after a year to say, hey, man, we ain't giving you another one, man. We got this kid. It's going to be a redshirt freshman,
right?
And if they can, if Riley Leonard is the deal, I don't know if he's the deal. I don't know if he is. I know Notre Dame played against him,
right?
And it took a last-minute great fourth quarter by Sam Hartman to beat him.
He had a good game, that's for sure.
But if Riley Leonard is the deal, maybe they can sell it to C.J. Carr, and they can say, hey, C.J., he's going to be our QB for 2 years. Then you're going to be our QB for 3 years or 4 years, depending on how many years you have.
And hope he'll stay.
And hope C.J. Carr will stay.
And sit on the bench and watch him learn, just like Love did at Green Bay. Yeah. Well, and speaking of college, while we're at it, Texas has got another decision to make too, because Ewers just announced he's coming back for his senior year or second senior year, whatever you want to call it. So I would anticipate, if it hasn't already happened, that Arch Manning's going to leave.
Yeah, no, it has.
And I think I saw someplace where Ole Miss was brought into the conversation, where he may be heading for Mississippi.
Well, and here's the deal. So if Lane Kiffin is going to get involved with Arch Manning, and Arch Manning is going to ask him, hey, coach, am I going to be your starter next year? I mean, what's Lane Kiffin going to say?
Yeah.
Because I think he has his quarterback coming back, and I don't think he's left in the portal. I think he's coming back, but he can't say you're going to be my starter next year.
Well, Jackson Dart, he's coming back.
Yeah,
right?
Jackson Dart, yeah. So why would Arch Manning leave and have to go through that redevelopment and learn another system when he can just stay with Sark, and Sark can say, hey,
one more year?
I mean, one more year, then you're at the for 4 years.
Or maybe Mississippi's not the place he's going to go. He's going to go someplace that needs a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
But I think his his clock's ticking too.
Well, yeah, but it's really not ticking because he's redshirting. He hadn't played. He's not gonna play 5 or 6 years, so his clock really isn't ticking. I'll tell you what's ticking is his mindset of man, I'm making all this money. I'm a Manning. I should be playing on Saturdays when I'm not sure he should have been playing on Saturdays, and I'm not sure if his name wasn't a Manning that he would have been a 5-star recruit.
It's a good point.
I don't know that.
How good he is.
I'm just a basket. I'm a hoop junkie.
I hear you.
I don't know that, but I hear people saying that, But I don't know. I think it's a really cool time in the NFL, and I think the NFL then leads to the college programs, and I think
they're more connected now than they've ever been.
I can't tell you how happy I am for Nick Saban to be able to say, man, I made money. I won these championships. I'm 72. I own 3 homes. I own a place in Alabama. I own a vacation home in Florida, and I own another home somewhere else. I mean, let me live and enjoy
it. Let me do the Jimmy Johnson thing.
Yeah,
get on a boat in Isla Morado and go deep sea fishing.
I made all this money for what?
Yeah.
For my children? Let me take my wife. We still have pretty good health, and let's go enjoy it. Maybe do some stuff on Saturdays during the season on the talking heads and all that kind of stuff. But I'm ecstatic for him. There was also talk about Kirby Smart maybe doing it, leaving for Alabama. Why would Kirby Smart leave?
Why? Yeah.
Unless what?
At best, it's a lateral move.
Well, unless it's just the cash is just
more money.
But how much money do you need?
I know. Well, for you and I, it's a whole.
Give me $100.
It's a whole different.
Hey, give me $100
just too many zeros.
And a certificate to Taco Bell, and I'll work.
You're all set.
I'll come coach for you.
That's good. Scott, why don't we're going to take a break and come back and talk some college basketball. Why don't you run us through our sponsors and give us a chance to catch our breath, and we'll come back and talk some college basketball.
Sure. Before I play the video of the sponsor interlude, I will direct everybody watching to magicmind.com/Ron. Make sure you use that.
Hey, who needs Prevagen?
He's taking
Get
care of you.
yourself Magic. I'm ordering mine this week. Get yourself
if you're a Prevagen user, all that means is you're supporting the big drug companies, and nobody likes that. No.
And if you're not thinking right, like sometimes I'm sitting here with Pat, and Pat will go, "Who's that guy's name? What's that dude's name?" Sometimes I do it. Get yourself some Magic Mind. Thanks for that promo, Scott. And
of course,
commercials on. We'll be ready to roll.
Alrighty. Magic Mind. Make sure and do that. And then for this one, go to mailreg.com/IND Coaches Corner. Use that code for 10% off. Basically equates to free shipping. It's mailreg, MAEL reg.com/IND Coaches Corner. And we will be right back.
Andy Kern is a real estate broker with Weichert Realtors Jim Dunphy and Associates. The office is locally owned but has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your 5th house or buying your starter home, Andy can help. He has 6 years of real estate experience and is a lifelong St. Joe County resident. Jim Dunphy and Associates has decades of local experience. Call or text broker Andy Kern at 574-386-4479 for great local service. He is the Colonel. James Carpenter is a real estate broker with Weichert Realtors Jim Dunphy and Associates. The office is locally owned, but it has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your 5th house or buying your starter home, James can help. James is a South Bend lifer and has 6 years of real estate experience. Jim Dunphy and Associates has decades of local experience. Call or text broker Jim Carpenter at 574-292-CARP. That's 292-2277 for great local service. Frick's Driving School has been named the best driving school in Michiana. Frick's was started in 1960 and is located on Edison Road in Mishawaka. If your child is 15, you can get them started at Frick's. There are multiple instructions available for your driving lessons. Check out the broadcastsport.net main page and click on the Frick's icon to get more information. There you can find out more information and instructions to enroll your new driver. Frick's Driving School, a proud sponsor of Coach's Corner on BroadcastSport.net.
Courage Chiropractic and Wellness Center. When your body needs somebody to help.
Hello, I'm Dr. Karch, and I want to invite you to stop by my office on Cleveland Road in South Bend, just east of Portage Avenue. I've been serving Michiana for over 20 years, specializing in back pain, neck pain, headaches, naturally with gentle chiropractic care. Come see me for a free consultation.
Courage Chiropractic and Wellness Center. When your body needs somebody to help.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me? We are back on Coach's Corner, January 15th in the bitter cold of South Bend, Indiana. And this just shows you how much we love to do this, to be able to get out, get on the roads, and meet over in Pat's basement and talk about this show. Let me hit a couple of other sponsors here. Scott did a really good job on our sponsor hotline. Hahn Funeral Home. Hahn Funeral Home is located at 505 West 8th Street in downtown Mich. You can call us anytime at 574-255-1474 or stop in to get answers from our local funeral professionals all about your funeral needs. Hahn Funeral Home is a family serving families. And then, and hopefully maybe next week we'll get Pat Hahn, because we'll be back at Bar Louie's next week. And maybe we'll get Pat Hahn to come and do a live commercial. And then obviously Health Market Insurance Agency with the great Tony Letcher. He was on last week. He was amazing. Thanks to Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Call Tony today at 574-307-8882. And what about the Black Sedan Band? Man, that music that starts the show, I don't even want to do this. I want to just get everything off the table here and act like this table's a bar and get up on the bar and dance a little bit. I mean,
Good stuff,
someday.
they're a good band. I enjoy listening to them. They play some good songs.
They play great tunes. They have a great drummer, the great Donnie Hecklinski. Frick's Driving, man. Frick's Driving, right?
That's right. I was supposed to drive today. They are looking for drivers. They have so much business going right now that they need additional drivers. So people here locally, if you're interested in becoming a driver's ed instructor, or some of you old timers that are still have your license or you can very easily renew those. Get with Joe Lynn or get with Doug there at Frick's, and you can check the phone number and get back with them. And they'd love to talk to you about that.
Hey, so why don't you just do your Frick's road game of the week?
We can. Scott, you want to you got my little car going on there, because now that this ball game's over, they're showing the brackets. Houston and Baltimore next week. Kansas City gets to go to Buffalo.
I love that.
You like our little car there? Oh, nothing but the best here.
That's amazing to me.
Hey,
from where we came to having a car on the show
Oh,
now?
my goodness. I know.
Are you kidding me?
We're doing great.
I love that car.
Green Bay's my team of the week. Green Bay's my road team of the week. For them to go into Texas State, it's not Texas Stadium anymore, Jerry World, and win. Scott, tell me, how many games had Dallas won in a row there? Like 102?
No, 16.
16. Yeah.
16 in a row, that dating back to last season. They were, it was no secret, they were very, very good at home this year. And then for Green Bay to go in there and do what they did this last week, I think that was a huge, huge accomplishment on their part.
So Green Bay's your Frick's road game of the week?
They are it.
I love it.
They are it.
Hey, we're going to talk some hoops, man. But, before we get into college or high school hoops, and obviously there's been a lot of cancellations.
Oh, up here especially.
This past weekend, there were games supposed to be tomorrow night. Obviously, I had a game. Clay.
Now I was at Friday. I was at Penn. Where were you?
I was.
Did you check out?
No, I went to the doctor and I got some more, stuff for my cold. And Paul said, just stay at home, man.
Well, that was nice.
And I was thinking that game was going to be canceled.
Well, it was the only game up here. It was the only game in town. Everybody else had canceled.
And how does Penn only beat Jimtown by 3 or 4?
Well, let me tell you about that one. Penn was a no-show. Penn was down 11-4 at the quarter. 11-4. By the 6-minute mark, they had played 12 players in 10 minutes. I think they still had a hangover from getting beat 2 nights earlier against Warsaw.
Yeah, so I did that game, and
You
I
saw
thought
the
it was
Warsaw
a
game,
really
right?
good high school basketball game.
Well, they threw a stinker up the first half, and then second half, they must have had a come to Jesus meeting at halftime. One of those deals.
We've had a lot of those.
Oh,
right?
buddy. And they closed the gap. I think it was a 1 or 2 point game at the quarter, and then at the toward the end, it was back and forth, and it was a 2-point game with like 8 seconds left. Penn only had 2 fouls, so Jimtown's down 2. They throw it in, 2 dribbles, foul, take it out of bounds. 2 more dribbles, foul.
Great strategy.
Now we're down to like 4 seconds. They're on the side court. They're like just inside half court. They throw it in the back court with 2 seconds left. It gets knocked loose, and Mike Penn ends up uncontested layup at the buzzer, and ends up a 4-point game. Huge scoring game, 35-31.
No, I know. I saw that.
I went out and got popcorn 3 different times and never missed a thing.
Well, I'm very happy that I didn't miss a great game. But
it was a close game, but it was not a good game.
I mean, a big homecoming for Tyler Layton. Tyler was an assistant coach, was a JV coach at Penn last year. Now the head coach of the Jimtown Jimmies. But
he did everything he wanted to do. He turned the game ugly. He slowed the game down. Penn was uninterested for 2.5 quarters.
Penn's got a really good freshman named Peyton Miambi. He's probably about 6'4". He can play. He can go inside. He can go outside. He shoots it. He's just a man among boys. And I know that Coach Coleman is trying to break him in slowly.
Bring him in slowly. Yeah, he brought him in off the bench. Matter of fact, I think he played a little JV too.
But against Warsaw, he could have played. And I'm not telling other people how to coach because there's a lot of great coaches out there. But I'm not sure. I don't have him on the court a lot more.
Bit more. Well,
a lot more, not a little more.
And it may be about that time. Well, you want to talk college for a little bit?
No, so I want to slide over just for a few minutes because on Thursday night, the Bulls brought in their initial Ring of Honor. I mean, they never had a Ring of Honor in Chicago that they would put around the United Center court and stuff like that. So they decided to do that. And obviously in the Ring of Honor, you would have Scottie Pippen, you would have Michael Jordan, you would have Rodman, you would have Phil Jackson, you would have Bob Butterbean Love, you had Jerry Sloan, you had Chet the Jet Walker, you had
Ron Harper.
You had Ron Harper was part of the team that went 72-10, and that team, that whole team got in. But
he has 2 very good high school, or one. Ron Harper Jr. played at Rutgers. The other son, Dylan Harper, is like the #1 rated basketball recruit in the country right now. Also going to Rutgers.
And Ron Harper had a great career at Miami of Ohio. But so they're going to introduce all of these people, and on Friday's game against Golden State, because Steve Kerr is on that 72-10 team, and
yes, he was.
Golden State is in
They're
Chicago,
in town,
so
right?
let's do it then.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it then. So they entered. And first of all, MJ, Pippen, and Rodman don't come. Now I don't know. I mean, I don't, and obviously travel was treacherous, man, because
Friday was a bad travel day.
That's when all of the stuff was hitting Chicago.
Yes.
But I mean, ever since they had the show on where Scottie Pippen said some things relative to Michael Jordan, and they had a little bit of a rift there. Michael Jordan's son is dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. So a lot
of drama.
So I mean, if you're going to induct those people in the Ring of Honor, you got to show, man.
Right.
I mean, you got to show, and you got to be there. Dennis Rodman said it was traveling. He couldn't. I mean, the flights weren't coming in, But then this was and I'm a Chicago guy, man, and this was probably the most classless thing I've ever seen in sport, because Jerry Krause was also getting inducted into the Ring of Honor. And as we know, Jerry Krause was the architect of all of it.
Yes.
Brought in Dennis Rodman, traded a draft pick named Olden Polynice to bring in Scottie Pippen, brought in other players, and he set it up. But he wasn't good with the press. He wasn't good. Explaining some of his decisions. He became a target for the players. I remember, so I was really fortunate to coach the McDonald's All-American game. And when I coached those games, we had a week of practice. So the NBA GMs would come in and they'd sit courtside, or they sit underneath the basket.
Right.
And you would have appreciated this. They were underneath one basket, and Joe Nadline and Doug Mitchell were my assistant coaches. And Joe had the bigs.
Right.
So there's Kevin McHale, Mel Daniels, all those guys sitting on. And I said, Joe, take the bigs down in that basket.
Right.
I mean, Kevin McHale invented all the drills.
Exactly.
And Joe's like shaking, saying,
I would be too. Oh, shit.
heck, you take the. No, I said, Joe, take your guys down there. So Joe was shaking, putting.
And he's
guys,
never forgiven you for it, has he?
Never. But so anyway, I don't know about you, but I always read the Michael Jordan books. Did you?
Oh yeah.
I always read the Michael Jordan books, and there was always a little bit of a thing in there about Jerry Krause, and they didn't get along. And blah blah blah. Well, so Michael Jordan used to call Jerry Krause crumbs, and he called him crumbs because anytime he ate donuts, the crumbs to the donuts would all be all over his sweaters. So I swear to God, I'm getting ready. I'm starting practice. I send Joe down to that end, and I look down at that end, and Jerry Krause is sitting in one of the chairs on that end. He's got a navy blue sweater on. He's got crumbs like the powdered sugar from
powdered sugar on that.
And I just kind of laughed.
That's funny.
So there was always speculation that Jerry Krause brought him in, but Jerry Krause tore it down too.
Tore it apart too.
And his first thing he did was he said, I'm not bringing Phil Jackson back. Phil Jackson, his contract was up, and he thought the run was over. And once you weren't bringing Phil Jackson back, then Michael Jordan wasn't coming back, and Scottie Pippen wanted traded. So then the fans of Chicago always vilified Jerry Krause. Now, Jerry Krause died, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, but his 87-year-old wife was there to be recognized in his place. And when they announced Jerry Krause's name for the Ring of Honor, the fans in the United Center booed.
Oh, dear.
And it was the most classless thing. She was sitting there, and they showed her. She was crying. She had tears coming down her face. And how could you be that heartless to do that?
That sounds like something you'd hear from the Eagles fans on a bad season.
I can't believe you said that, because that's exactly what all the talking heads then. Because
were we in Philadelphia?
No, that's exactly what they said, and all the people in Chicago, Steve Kerr, all the players that was there, they defended Jerry Krause. But it was one of the most classless things I've ever seen. And it made me sad to be a big Chicago fan.
That's too bad that it was that big of a deal.
Hey, tomorrow night, man. Tomorrow night, we got Purdue at IU.
Oh, I know it. You're exactly right.
What do you got?
To put a bow on that, Jerry Krause died March 21st, 2017.
Well, that's about 5, 6, 7 years ago then, huh?
And then I have a question for the two guys sitting at the table. Or actually, I just got a question. I got a text question. This comes from Scott in Frisco, Texas.
Okay.
Do you think some of it still has to do with Jerry Reinsdorf still being around? Because I know those guys hated him too.
I'll take a shot at that. They really didn't. I mean, and I lived it, man. I was front and center to all of that. Tex Winter was a big basketball guy, put in the triangle offense, and I got introduced to Tex Winter, and Tex Winter became a friend of mine, and he would leave me tickets all the time. So I was around that, and I saw that, and I don't believe it was Reinsdorf, because I think it was Jerry Krause's inability to intermingle with the media and tell them why we're doing things.
Mhm.
And everybody always suspected that Jerry Krause wanted it to be about him.
Oh dear.
And
Okay.
it was never about him. It was about MJ and Scotty.
Mhm.
He put it all together,
Sure.
but those players used to make fun of him because he always tried to put himself in front of everybody else. And I kind of think that's where all of that started. And then they go for 6 championships and they want to run it back. They
Right.
want
They were ready
they
to go
want the
again.
chance
Right.
to run it back. And Phil says, I'm all in.
Right.
I'll run it back. But Jerry Krause says, no, I'm not. I'm going to terminate Phil. We're not going to, re-sign Phil. And so he became the villain in all of it.
And this was all in the 90s, and now we're seeing it today. And if you think about it, you could compare that to what the Cowboys have gone through here with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson, and even Belichick at New England with the Patriots, about how much they've controlled and how they tear teams apart. And, think how many times the Patriots unload a player that we think's pretty good, and he ends up going someplace else because, Belichick thought he'd outlived his usefulness. So anyway, well, hey, college basketball. We had a busy week this week. What was it? 8 of the top 10 teams got beat last week at least once, and Houston got beat twice.
Kelvin Sampson, man.
Purdue got beat by Nebraska. Houston loses on Tuesday night to Iowa State, and then they turn around Saturday and they lose to TCU. Kansas gets beat by Central Florida. I think the only team that did not lose last week was UConn, and that's the reason they're now number 1 this week. So UConn's number 1, Purdue's number 2, and you got the rest of them. Carolina's 3, Kansas is 4, Tennessee's 5.
So
that's going to, with the conference seasons going on, and just like today, Michigan and Ohio State played, who are both in the middle of the Big Ten. It's still early. They've only played 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is early. Both IU and Purdue are 4-2, with IU being 12-5 and Purdue being 15-2. And the IU faithful, I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, IU goes down. They play just an awful game at Rutgers.
At Rutgers, they were awful
and get beat. And all of humanity is coming out saying we got to fire Mike Woodson, and Mike Woodson can't do this, and Mike Woodson can't coach them, and they don't have the players. But then you look, and they're 4-2 in the Big Ten,
right?
And then you and then you look at Purdue, and you say, man, Matt Painter's coaching his brains out again. Edey is big and commands, 7 guys to guard him.
Right.
But then the 2 freshman scorers last year, Lawyer and Braden Smith, they're now sophomores. They're bigger. Right. They're stronger. They're making shots.
Well, they didn't make them last week at Nebraska.
Yeah, no, and so
that's the reason they got beat.
Yeah, and so the Big Ten, there is a thing called parity, right?
Right. And who's leading the Big Ten right now? Wisconsin.
Yeah. So I mean, there is parity. So are the Purdue faithful saying we're firing Matt Painter tomorrow? I don't think they are, but the IU thing has been such an up and down deal.
There's drama.
Yeah, no, that's the
daily drama.
That is a great word, daily drama. And I don't think, Woody comes back, they win now at IU tomorrow night. So I think this,
and they only play once this year, I think. They only play once during the season.
And I think this will be a great game tomorrow night to watch and see what drama develops afterwards.
Well, and the first drama you're going to deal with is people complaining about the game because it's on Peacock tomorrow. So there'll be a lot of people that aren't even going to get to see it.
That's amazing to me, man. I mean, where's Chuck Marlowe and John Laskowski?
Oh, I know. Just put them on Channel 4 and let's go.
Where's Ted Kitchell and Laz?
Right. I know.
When you want them.
I agree.
Oh, man.
I agree. Well, hey, one of the things I was going to mention, too, we advertised Jimmy King's supposed to be with us, and he still may show up tonight. I know a lot of my Texas guys were looking forward to it. Jimmy texts me about halftime of the ball game today and says, Coach, we're all together today, and I may not be in a position to give you a phone call later on or Zoom. So I said, we may have to reschedule. You people that watched the Ohio State game today, today was the first time since the 90s that all 5 of the Fab Five were in the same place at the same time.
John Howard, Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, Jimmy King,
Ray Jackson. They were sitting together. I know you people that watched the game during one of the TV timeouts, right there before halftime. It was the under 8 timeout. They introduced them. They played the fight song. They got up and basically led the band during the fight song and waved everybody. Huge reception, and that they received. And then they kept showing them off and on. Jimmy Jackson was doing the game, who played at Ohio State.
Yes.
And Jalen went over and sat with him and sat through, I think, the middle of it. Actually, he was with him. Michigan was ahead 10 or 12. And while Jalen was sitting there talking to Jimmy Jack, next thing you know, the lead's down to 2. So, and I think he disappeared around the 8-minute mark when things got serious, and then it was back and forth the rest of the game. So Jimmy may at the last minute here hop in here. He's got Scott's text number, but Scott and I were down in you were talking about Ring of Honor. We went to Texas last Friday, and people at Plano East honored Jimmy at halftime. He was Mr. Basketball in Texas in '91. Scott, you did take some pictures. Good job. I forgot about that. But Scott has not seen
anything for content.
Yeah, Scott had not seen Jimmy since you were like 3 or 4 years old, and we were over in Gary, and Jimmy was playing for the Quad City Thunder, I believe, at the time. He was Toronto's second pick in the draft. Damon Stoudemire was their first, and that was the first year. That was their expansion draft. And
how many years did he play in the league?
He played just basically off and on for about 3 years. He played with them. Then he bounced down to Quad City. I think he was with the Nuggets for a while. His last time was he was actually MVP of the CBA in '98. It was over in Europe for a year or two. Came back and got down to the last pick, the last draft, or the last cut with the Pacers in 2000 or 2001, where he and Jalen would have been on the team together, because I remember they had an exhibition game at Notre Dame. So I saw him there, and I brought a Barnaby's pizza because he loves Barnaby's pizza. Jimmy he's a South Bend guy. I think most people know that. He was born and raised in South Bend, and family moved to Plano when he was in grade school. But he's got family still up here. We mentioned last week Larry King, Ricky King, I believe.
Ricky King
are all relatives of his. His dad played for South Bend Central in the '60s. So I had a chance to see all those people. I had a chance to see.
So did you see Ricky King in Texas?
No, I didn't. No, just Jimmy. We see
Okay.
Ricky's still here in South Bend someplace.
So back in the mid '70s, Ricky King played for Riley on that great Riley team. T.D. Shelton, Turk Chambliss, Steve Sanders, Ricky King. Ricky King might have been, and this is when Jimmy Webb was in town too.
Was he better than Webb?
To me, he was.
Okay.
Ricky King was so freaking smooth; it was not even funny.
Well, so anyways, we had a chance to see him. So if Jimmy doesn't pop in tonight, we'll try our best to get him on here next week or the week after.
All right, so here's the trivia question.
Okay.
What besides Chris Webber calling an ill-timed timeout, what is the Fab Five basically known for also besides basketball prowess on the court?
Well, they're black socks and they're baggy pants.
The baggy shorts.
Baggy shorts. And I've heard the stories about that because they would steal the older guys' shorts. They'd get the big guys during practice. They'd get their shorts going. Man, coach, we can't wear these John Stockton things. Said we need something that's a little longer, and that's basically how it happened. They just went and told the coach, and they were talking today about just with this being Martin Luther King Day and everything too, about all the changes that have happened since then. One of the things I mentioned to Jimmy and Eldon Drake and some of the other guys, Greg Newsom, and I was sitting with last week, was one of the things did not tell them ever, but I was the first coach in Plano that put 5 blacks on the floor at the same time.
Don Haskins.
I was Don
Texas
Haskins
Western.
of Plano. This would have been about
basketball.
1985, 86. Now it was probably a 9th grade game or a 10th grade game. It was not a JV or a varsity game. And that's one of the things people didn't understand too. I never saw Jimmy King play a high school basketball game his junior, senior year. The way things were set up was I had him when he was a sophomore. And the way our school system was set up, sophomores did not play varsity basketball. So his scoring numbers are all just 2 years from his junior and senior year.
Wow.
So I had him as a sophomore, and we had college coaches coming to our ball games, and our Clark High School team that was strictly 10th graders, we were rated in the top 10 in the Metroplex.
So what high school would Jimmy have gone to in South Bend here?
He said right now, I asked him that when we were down there in Texas, said probably Riley, maybe Washington.
Of course, Riley.
Because the family was Riley, and I know he's been up here a couple of times. I know when I had Booker and these guys that won the sectional back in 07, 08, Jimmy was in town because his nephew, Larry King Jr., was playing for Riley. So he was in town, came to watch Larry play, and we were over at Elkhart for a holiday tourney. I think we were playing a Chicago team, Corliss or somebody like that. And he stayed, and he actually came in the locker room and did the lineup. So I gave him the lineup card and said, "Here."
Oh man, that's really cool.
So the kids thought that was cool. Of course, we were late getting out for the tip because, but I gave him the lineup card and told him he had no idea. I had their names down, and he looked at the board and faked it.
Hey, so let's go over the power rankings for the South Bend area now as we wrap up this show.
Well, and I'm doing this off of memory from last week. They had Northridge was number 1. They got beat this week. Northwood beat them on Thursday night, Friday night, Tuesday night, whatever night it was. Anyways, Northwood beat Northridge. But right now, Riley's the team to beat. Last week we said the Riley Michigan City game would be a good one. Tuesday night, Riley went over to Michigan City and won by, I think, 2. We said the Penn Warsaw game was going to be a good one because that was sectional preview game, and Warsaw won that one. And who did Mishawaka play this week?
Mishawaka did not play.
They did not play. They got snowed. They got postponed.
They were supposed to play Lou's team at Wawasee on Friday. They're supposed to play home against Clay tomorrow night, which that game is rescheduled too.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of stuff rescheduled tomorrow because very few people up here have school tomorrow because we're going to be below 0 with wind chills again, and it probably again Wednesday. Don't be surprised if we don't have school Wednesday. And here's my problem. I'm losing money because with my substitute teacher thing, if we don't go to school, I don't get paid.
No, I don't feel bad for you because why don't you put the snowblower in the back of the truck and drive around neighborhoods?
Well, I might.
Plowing.
It's too cold.
I mean, I'm just saying, my poor wife and I were out on the driveway the other day, freezing our you-know-what's off, trying to get that driveway clean. And I know you said.
Well, I thought about you.
Well, no, I know you say you got two grown-ass boys. Get their ass out there.
That's a good point.
And they were both working. Both working.
I thought about you because I was going to put it in the back of the truck. But you know what? We couldn't get out of the neighborhood.
I know.
Our neighbor, we got 6-7 inches of snow, and with all the wind that we had the other day on Friday, at 6 or 7, some of that's like 2 or 3 feet.
Hey, I think it's been a wonderful show tonight. We've done a lot of, we've just kind of been all over the map tonight. Next week we'll be back at Bar Louie's. Next week, hopefully we'll get some guests coming into the show. We'll line up some phone guests that we know. And I mean, the weather, I mean, you can't say anything about Allison Hayes not jumping on. The weather's just been crazy, and Jimmy's got his boys there. So next week we'll line some people up for the show. Yeah. We'll promote it. We'll let you know. And I've really enjoyed you and me just chatting it up tonight and giving our 2 cents for whatever that matters.
That's right. And like we said, Scott, one of the things we're trying to transition now, we really feel we're going to have a lot of people on YouTube tuning in. So you people on YouTube, like us, subscribe, write us notes, and all this stuff.
So when you say subscribe, like, what do you mean? They have to pay to watch our show?
No, they just go in there and like it, and they like claim our show. Scott, explain. Would you? You're smarter about it than I.
All it is just getting you don't when you subscribe on a YouTube channel, you don't have to go and look for the videos. They just pop up.
It's like book. It's like bookmarks them.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's not like you got to pay money.
No.
No, unless there is a thing called Patreon, and if you guys want to start doing stuff and put it behind a paywall, if people are willing to pay for it, then
Well,
I mean, who
the
am
only-
I to
the only
say
thing-
no?
Here's what I think I could do is post that your apparel site back up there that you've got set
Damn.
up. Where you can pull up the quarter zips and stuff that golf
Yeah,
fits. If you people get interested, click on this because that little 10%, we get a little kickback on that too. So there's a reason that's on there. So you're kind of
We
paying
get
us.
kickback.
We get a kickback.
How come I ain't got anything for it then?
Because that's how
you
many
getting
people-
all the kickback.
That's how many people have purchased stuff so far. I think the
Dang.
one
checks-
person has bought a sweatshirt,
I think
and it
the
was
checks-
me.
we're still in our infancy here. The
That
checks
person.
checks in the mail.
We
Right,
need
Scott?
Johnny Be Good back here. I got guys making money and I
That's
ain't
funny.
making.
That's funny.
Okay, here's the deal though. And this
I
is
made
true.
$8 off that sweatshirt.
There you
And
go.
here's the deal. Okay, we like doing this. We have great sponsors. We make a little money to do this, but I swear, it's just like you and I said. Every time we walked off the basketball court together, I would look at you. I'd be grinning or I'd be pissed because we had a bad practice, or I'd say, Pat, remember they pay us for
They're
doing
paying
this.
us to be here. I
And
know.
we would have done it. We would have done it because we loved
Oh, I
hoops.
know. I agree.
And we
Speaking
did.
of Johnny Be Good,
I saw John happened popped on here.
Johnny popped on.
Yep.
I miss. Hey guys.
He's busy. He's a
No,
busy-
he can't be busy today. They got no school.
Well,
Johnny, you ain't busy. Why didn't you call in? What are you making popcorn at the crib or what?
yeah, we needed him to come on to talk about the Lions.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the Lions. He's in his glory right now. That's the other thing. We talk so much about the Packers and the Cowboys. The Detroit Lions. My goodness gracious. We talk about them. Hopefully they'll have a home game next week.
Yeah, they will.
They'll have a home game.
And I'm really happy because they've been a franchise that have just really struggled and has been without playoff appearances, playoff wins for a long, long time. They bring Dan Campbell in, a former player, gets those guys playing their brains out. Congratulations to the Lions, Johnny. Be good.
Well, and-
next time,
And
man.
the Lions they'll play the winner of the game that's going on TV right now. The Tampa Bay game.
Yeah,
So
Johnny-
whoever wins that
and
game
Johnny
goes to
just-
Detroit next
Johnny
week.
just pops on here again. You got that right. Go Lions. So what do you mean I got that right? You're at the crib eating popcorn? Is
Yeah.
that what I got right?
There you go.
All right.
Hey, I got one more question that just got texted in to me.
Fire.
Quentin in the Colony, Texas, wants to know who wins Eagles Tampa.
Man, that's a
good one.
That's a tough one. Tampa playing with the recycled Baker Mayfield. The
He's done
Eagles
well.
Eagles can't bust a grape in the immortal words of 1946, Mr. Basketball Jumping Johnny Wilson. So I don't know.
I think it's gonna be a good game. We're getting ready to eat some chicken enchiladas that the wife has fixed for us.
Yeah,
And,
I don't know who's going to win that game. I do know this much. I mean, where's Jalen Hurts been?
I don't know, but I think next week Detroit will be favored. Whoever wins, the way they're playing right now.
Yep, you're right.
So we're gonna go watch some more football.
Well,
and get-
you gotta go on the record to make a pick. Just make a pick.
Wait a minute, Quentin's from Southern. Quentin, he went to what? Western Illinois, Eastern Illinois. He was a wide receiver. They're
Make
just
a
now starting
pick.
the game.
Quit stuttering.
Make a pick.
I'm gonna
Take
take.
some-
I'm gonna take Tampa. I'm gonna take
then
Baker
I'm gonna
Mayfield.
take the Eagles. I'm gonna
Okay.
take the Eagles.
All right.
Tampa.
This is why I got commercials about Magic Mind.
I
My
was
partner was stammering around.
no.
not
I was
making a
sitting
pick.
on the fence. I was sitting on the fence.
right,
I
he's
didn't
Here we
want to
got
anybody.
He's got
We
Tampa.
got-
I got the Eagles, man.
All right.
two more YouTube comments before we get out of here. But I mean, if people want to keep commenting and putting stuff in the YouTube chat, then we'll keep going.
But we're on no
Virginia.
time schedule.
Says go Birds.
That's our
Says-
trip to South Carolina,
To North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Oh,
Exactly. Oh,
Eagles versus Bucks. Frauds versus mid. Eagles and free-
Mid is a Gen Z slang. I think that Q picked up on. It means
okay.
just kind of eh.
Okay.
I'm still sticking with the Eagles. I'm sticking
All
with
right.
the Eagles.
Okay. I'll
Doc,
take.
Dockich always called it Jag. They're a
Okay,
Jag, just a guy.
Just a guy.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm going with the Eagles.
Well,
Pat's
they just
going with the Bucks.
started, so that means I'll have to take a nap at halftime or something.
No, it'll take me.
We get to stay up tonight.
It'll
don't
take
we?
me
'Cause we don't-
45 minutes to get to the crib, man.
We don't have
as
school.
bad as the roads are.
Oh Lord. Well,
Do we have any breaking news for school closures tomorrow that we want to break if we want to get into the
it's
the
already been
Scoops game?
broke. It's already
Oh,
been
man.
broken. We get to sleep in.
School City,
lame.
walk up, boom,
We get to sleep
making
in.
that day up
Dang.
on March 4th.
Yep.
But hey,
So
good.
everything north of US 30 is probably gonna get shut down here for another day. It's just too cold.
Hey, Scott, thanks, man. You're the best. Thanks for taking time out of your day and out of your sightseeing in Savannah, Georgia.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go have dinner tonight? Where the golfers?
Sam
were-
Sneed's.
Good for you.
Yeah, you act like it was a big
Sweet
deal.
swinging, slammy Sam Sneed.
It's walking distance to the
Yeah, it's
Taj
right next
Mahal.
door.
You're staying at the Taj Mahal there.
All right, man. Hey,
Also known as the Hyatt.
Yeah.
Patrick, we bouncing, man.
It's time to go eat some dinner.
You're the best, man. Scotty, you're the best. Thanks, and tune in next week. We will be at Bar Louie's next week. Or Bar Louie.
Sounds good. Night, everybody.
Fuck Sedan.
I guarantee you, if you want to dance, we don't mind you doing it. We gonna have a good time. Hey, well, I'm the friendly stranger in the black sedan. I want you to hop inside my car.